Today we're making the Tunnel of Fudge Cake. It's one of those recipes like the chocolate pudding cake, and supposedly when you make this, it has a circle of fudginess in the middle when you get done cooking it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some boiling water and melt these chocolate bits that I have. This is bittersweet chocolate. And this is a Breville teapot. But somebody gave this to me as a gift, and this water heats up faster than I can even believe it works. So I love this thing, and it stays hot for a long time, so I can have cup after cup of tea just by turning it on for a few seconds. All right, we just want a half a cup of really hot water, and we're going to pour that on top of those chocolate chips to let them sit there and melt. And while that's working, we're going to grease and flour our pan. And a trick is that you can take chocolate or flour and butter of equal measure.
In all honesty, Renee has never used this technique before. I can't say I try out a new method in front of the whole wide world, but Renee is going to be Renee. So I'm looking forward to seeing if this works.
And mix them together. It's very difficult to grease and flour a Bundt pan. And so this method works well because you take your brush, and instead of trying to fill all those nooks and crannies, we're just going to brush the whole thing with this mixture. And because it's got that cocoa in there, it's going to help the pan let the cake release. Okay, there. So we've got every little spot covered, and I did find that this natural brush works better than the one I started off with. So we've got our chocolate that's been melting. We're going to stir that up. So that looks like it's melted, and it will continue to melt. Leave that over there for the time being. All right, so now we're going to put some butter in this bowl over here, our mixing bowl, and some regular sugar, granulated sugar, and some brown flour. Brown flour. This is light brown sugar. And this recipe actually calls for light brown sugar. And we're going to put the vanilla in. And we're going to let that sit for just a minute. And we're going to take our dry ingredients, which consists of flour, cocoa powder. This is Dutch cocoa, confectionery sugar, some salt. I'm going to take a whisk and get that mixed up. And sometimes your cocoa powder gets a little bit lumpy. If you just put that in a strainer or a sifter, that will take care of that problem, which I had to do here today. And then we also have some pecans that I chopped, and I have a fun way to do that. I'm going to do this with a spoon rather than chopping them, and probably not quite as fine, but just get this all mixed in together. We'll let that sit over here. We'll put this over here, and we're going to cream these sugars together on low speed for about 30 seconds. Okay, we're going to turn that up. We're going to turn this up to a medium-high speed for 3 to 6 minutes until this gets creamed, which is light and fluffy and well mixed together. Okay, so about every 2 minutes or so, I just stop and scrape the sides of this bowl so that it just doesn't get, it gets mixed up as much as it can and creams. All right, that looks good. Okay, so it's been about 6 minutes. I let it go the whole way because I want this cake to be as fluffy as possible. And it looks perfect. I'm just going to scrape down the sides so that we can add the eggs next. If you do these little things as you're cooking, baking especially, you'll end up with a successful product. So now we're going to turn this back on to a lower speed. And we're going to add one of these eggs at a time, and these eggs separate quite well because there's still a unit in there. So I'm just going to put one egg at a time and let that get mixed in. Turn it up a little bit higher. We'll go another one. Somewhere between, I'd say 30 seconds an egg, maybe a little less. And you do this one at a time just to make sure that these eggs get mixed in well, because eggs tend to clump all together, and it's just easier to do it this way. They move as one until they get mixed in, so this way they get mixed in more thoroughly. And then we'll put that last one in. I have the oven heating to 350. I'm not quite sure if I said that or not. Okay, I'm going to scrape that down a little bit. It's some clinging here. The next thing we're going to add is this chocolate concoction that we made. I'm going to have that mixing as I put this in. And then we're going to start adding this mixture here, the dry mixture that we made, and just turn it down to low to put this in. And we'll let that mix up really well. So that looks great. I'm going to take this out, and I probably mix that together for 30 to 45 seconds after the addition of the flour. It just depends on if it's all mixed in or not. So here's our pre-greased pan, and we're going to scrape this all in there. You just want to work this so that you get it all in there as evenly as possible. This is quite a heavy batter. And supposedly what happens with this is that it separates in there somehow and leaves this gooey, ooey middle. And I don't want to say I don't believe it, because I've said that on the chocolate pudding cake and it actually worked. So we'll see what happens with this. Look, it's 45 minutes and it oh my word. No wonder this was so popular. This is delicious. I guess this was the hottest cake going back in the 60s. I don't think I've ever had this cake, nor have I ever made this cake. So this is kind of an interesting project today. And let's just push that around and make sure it's as even as you can possibly get it. Just like the angel food cake that I made recently, you want to make sure that you get all of the pieces that you've, like that right there, you want to push back in and then wipe that off, because this has to slide up the side of the pan and you don't want it sticking on overly done pieces that have been left on the sides of this. So as picky as this is, you want to get all of those. All right, so then we're going to give this a little tap to make sure that it's all settled in there. And this one you have to tap a little bit harder than you did the angel food cake. The angel food cake you don't want to deflate. This one, it's already heavy. You're just the purpose of this is to make sure that it is all kind of evenly distributed. So now we're going to put this in the oven for 45 minutes. I'm going to start off with 40, and I'll show you how you determine whether this is done, because it's going to be mushy in the middle. So I'll show you when we get there. Okay, let's see how this is. We're at the 43 mark, and we're going to just take a good look at this. I think that's perfect. See how that's bouncing back, and it's starting to pull away from the sides, and it's bouncing. Ouch, it's really hot. So now we're going to let this sit for 10 minutes and cool a bit, and then we'll take it out and see what it looks like, and hopefully it comes out of the pan beautifully. Okay. I'm a little nervous about this, to be perfectly honest with you, so I just don't like failing. Okay, we're gonna take this like this. Still kind of hot. I'll just do it.
It looks like Renee's fixing to flip her Tunnel of Fudge Cake while holding on to that hot pan. Is she gonna drop it? Is it gonna slip out of that mold in one piece? Or is it gonna be stuck in that pan forever? We're about to find out right after this. Welcome back. Okay, let's find out what happens next here in the kitchen in the Shire.
Nothing's happening, I can already tell. No way. Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh, this is very exciting. Oh, it came out. I can't believe it came out so well. Okay, and it's not burned, and I can see the little chocolate from this, where we rubbed this all over the side, and instead of being white flour here, it's chocolate. Yum! What a great idea. Okay. So now we have to let this cool, and then we're going to come back and make a glaze for this. So we'll be back shortly. I cannot believe how well that worked. I thought it was stuck, and it feels like there's moisture. I don't know. It came out! I can't believe it. Okay, so now the cake is cooling off, and we're going to make this glaze. I'm going to put some cream in this neat little pan, and I'm going to put that on a medium low and just heat that up. We're also going to put in our chocolate chips so that they melt. This is the part that I think next time I'll make a different glaze, but I'm going to do it anyway so I can see what it does. I learn something every time I do something I think I don't want to do. So this is 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And I think they're putting this in so that you don't have to temper the chocolate. I mean, it's not cornstarch, it's corn syrup. It is not cornstarch. It's corn syrup, and I think they're putting this in so you don't have to temper the chocolate, and it's going to make it shiny. So we'll go with it this time. And then we've got a pinch of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And we're just going to stir this up. Make sure it gets really hot. I'm just going to let that all melt. And see that shine like tempered chocolate that's exactly why they put that in there. See how shiny that is already? Okay, so I think that's great. I don't want to cook that anymore. I don't want it to burn to the bottom. And now we're just going to let this set up a little bit before we bring that cake out. It needs to sit for about 20 minutes to kind of coagulate perfectly in there. There we go. I'm just going to let that sit. And we'll be back we'll be back soon. Okay, so we made this glaze, and I let it sit for about 20 minutes. It's set nicely, but it's still, I can still drizzle it on the cake. So let's start. Just want this to be able to drizzle off down the sides, and we'll just go around a couple of times. Gravity is going to take care of some of this. Just make sure the top is completely covered. Just help it start down those creases there. And then before we cut into this, we're going to let this sit and do its job here. And then we'll come back and cut this and see how it looks inside. I can hardly wait. All right, so now we're going to give this a try. And as you can see, it's setting up nicely, and everything is kind of falling, and it's a kind of a thick cross between a frosting and a glaze, and it's done exactly. You don't want it falling all over the counter. So let's give this a shot and see what the inside looks like. That's what it's supposed to look like. Look, it's a tunnel of fudge. Oh my word, that's gorgeous. That looks perfect. Look, it has a goopy center of fudge. That is awesome. Oh, I'm very excited about trying this. Yum. Oh, mush. I don't think I can put all of that in there. It's very moist. There's a crust on the outside that gives it some texture. There's nuts in there that give this texture. And like right there, there's some of the gooey stuff in the middle. And there's a hard piece of crust. So when you eat that, there's a crunch. It's got so much texture. It's quite an impressive cake. It's perfect.
Well, will you look at that? Renee did it. That Tunnel of Fudge Cake looks like the kind of thing that I would definitely go for on my diet cheat day. We've got lots more videos out there for you to check out. So until next time.
Thank you.